Hello, children. Today we are going to tell you an interesting story titled You're Not My Snack. This story is about Mao and Shu, who had been best friends since they were young. However, one day, a tale told by Grandma Yang threatened to end the wonderful friendship that they shared. How will Mao and Shu face this issue? Will they ever go back to being best friends again? Let's find out.
Gotcha! Now you're it! Mao the cat exclaimed gleefully, catching his best friend by the tail. Mao, a fluffy 5-year-old ginger cat, was very playful by nature, and there was nothing he loved more than playing tag. "What should I do with you now? Should I make you my snack?" Mao joked playfully. Let me go! Now it's my turn! I'm going to get you this time! Shu the rat said, determination set in his eye. Shu, a small cocoa-colored rat, was just as playful as Mao, but he was a brave little fellow. He ignored his friend's words on how he would soon one day end up in Mao's stomach. Besides, they have buckets of fun playing with each other. Where's the harm? But wait! Shu heard the sound of footsteps approaching. Thump, 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 that caused him to tremble in fright. "Quick, help me hide," Shu whispered fearfully to Mao. Shu, being a rat, was not welcome in the household of the King family, or any household for that matter. He was considered a pest. Mao, on the other hand, was the King family's pet, so there was no reason for Mao to hide. "Relax, will you? It's only Grandma Yang. She's probably on her way to Feng and Yun's room to read them a bedtime story," Mao explained coolly. "Oh, let's hide behind the door. I want to listen too. We have always enjoyed the stories Grandma Yang tells them." "The spot behind the door would be perfect for eavesdropping," Shu said excitedly. They quickly scrambled behind the creaking wood door before Grandma Yang could reach the room. Grandma Yang entered the room and sat on a chair between the twins' beds. "Feng, Yun, so what story should I tell both of you today?" she said cheerfully. The identical 8-year-old twins, Feng and Yun, were very different in character. While Feng was very loud, Yun was shy and timid. Their differences led them to have many arguments with each other. "Grandma, read this book!" Feng exclaimed loudly, waving his favorite book. "No, Grandma, read this one, about the adventure of the two boys," Yun argued as he persuaded Grandma Yang. Grandma Yang giggled and teased him. "Two little ones are at it again. Grandma tell Daddy and Daddy said, all the fighting must now end. Hear Grandma's story all about friends." Grandma Yang sighed loudly and continued. "Look at the two of you, twins, but acting like cats and rats who are sworn enemies. Do you know why cats and rats never get along?" Grandma asked as she tucked them in. "Well, that's obvious. Rats are tasty snacks to cats, that's why," Feng quipped as he and his twin settled down in their beds. Mao and Shu, meanwhile, were still behind the door, straining their ears, anticipating what Grandma was going to say next. "Well, actually, it was their rift goes back a long way. Do you know the story of the Chinese zodiac?" asked Grandma. Both the boys shook their heads. "Well, my dear."
Long ago in China, the Jade Emperor decided that there should be a way of measuring time. So, on his birthday, he announced some exciting news. Doom, 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 doom. The gong was struck repeatedly,
calling all animals of the kingdom. There is going to be a swimming race. The first 12 animals that swim across the fast flowing river would each have a year named after them,
declared the Jade Emperor. All the animals were overjoyed at the interesting prospect of having a year named after them. However, good friends, the cat and the rat, were worried because they were poor swimmers. "Oh no! So what did they do?" Feng inquired eagerly. Well, gathering their courage, they asked the strong ox if he would carry them across the river. "Of course," said the kind ox. "Just climb onto my back and I will take you across." Without wasting any time, the cat and the rat jumped on the ox. "All safe and secure? Let's go!" said the ox, bellowing away. They had almost reached the other side when the rat suddenly pushed the cat into the fast flowing river, leaving him to struggle in the water. "Help! Help! Get me out! Get me out! I'm going to drown!" The cat screamed helplessly as he tried to stay afloat. However, the rat, its best friend, just laughed away. "I will have a year named after me. Not you! Not you! Not you!" When the cat finally crawled out of the water, it was too late to have a year named after him. He felt very angry with the rat for cheating him, and since then, cats have never been friends with rats.
And so, that is the story of why cats and rats never get along. Grandma finished off the narration. To her surprise, her two grandsons were fast asleep, snoring in their beds. She kissed both of their heads, turned off the lights, and left the room. Unknown to her, behind the twins' door, Mao, with an infuriated look on his face, was watching his best friend Shu. "Did you hear that? Because of your ancestor, we, the cats, are not included in the zodiac!" Mao yelled angrily, raising his paws. Looking down, Shu shuffled his feet nervously. However, Shu felt his temper rising. It was not his doing that cats were excluded from the zodiac. Why should he be blamed? He was not guilty of anything. Besides, it was something of the past. It should be forgotten. "Exactly. That short-sighted deed was committed by my ancestor, not me. You have no right to be angry at me!" Shu shouted back. Mao pounced away, angry at his best friend for not admitting his wrongs. He had always wondered why the cats were not privileged enough to be included in the zodiac. Now, realizing the truth, it made him so angry and resentful. Besides, they have nothing in common. They are as different as chalk and cheese. By right, a rat should be seen as a tasty snack to a cat, not a best friend. Lost in thought, he went around searching for Ying, the wise owl. Ying was a reliable friend. Mao found him, brown and round, perched on a tree beside the windowsill.
"Hey, why the long face? Why do you look so sad?"
Ying asked curiously. I just had a fight with Shu. Well, it turned out that the selfish deed of Shu's ancestor is the reason why there's no year of the cat. Real cats would never be friends with rats. I should have made him my snack a long time ago, sighed Mao.
Haha, don't say that. Listen here. Being different doesn't mean you can't be friends with them. Just look at you and me. We're very different, but we're still good friends, aren't we? Advised Ying. In fact, you and I are much more different because I can fly, exclaimed Ying, flapping his wings.
But what about the incident that happened to our ancestors? Asked Mao.
It was Shu's ancestor who did those things. He should have been blamed for what his ancestor did. He has absolutely no control over what happened in the past,
said Ying, smiling. So I should be friends with Shu again? Mao asked.
Ying chuckled. You can be friends with the frogs in the pond if you want. It's your choice.
With that, Mao left and thinking about Ying's advice. As he was walking, he fell into the swimming pool. Ah! Help me! Help me! Screamed Mao. Mao, are you alright? Shu called out. Shu! Help me! His voice muffled after going under the water. Shu scooted in haste, looking for Ying to help Mao. They found a rope and quickly flung it to Mao. Once Mao caught the rope with his teeth, Ying and Shu pulled him in with all their might. After all the huffing and puffing, Mao was safely out of the pond. Mao looked sheepishly sorry. You are a good friend and a true friend. You saved me. I am sorry I misjudged you. Friends again? Yes, of course, quipped Shu cheerfully. Let bygones be bygones, said Mao to Shu. Keeping that in mind, they continued fooling around, contented at heart, knowing that they would always have each other, and that was all that mattered. The end.